Okay, so we're doing a class this morning where we're going to start with a very gentle pelvic clock exercise. We haven't got any props except we might use a band for a few exercises. So have a band nearby, that's the only thing you need. Leave out any exercises that aren't right for you today. Try and enjoy it. This is quite a good class for anyone if you're feeling your back is feeling a little bit stiff, okay? So we're just, the first pelvic clock movements are really just trying to loosen up all the little joints and muscles around the lower back and hips. So even though it's small and gentle, it's really beneficial for everybody, and try and concentrate on all the little details. Okay, so we're lying down on our backs to start with, and you want to make sure that you're comfortable. You might find a little head support is good for your body type. So lie down, knees bent, feet flat, hip distance apart. And then if you just place your hands on your pelvis, just to sort of remind your brain, give yourself a little bit of that awareness. Heel of hand on the hip points, fingertips towards the pubic bone, and my thumb is gently pointing towards my navel, okay? And just resting your hands here for a minute. And we're going to do a pelvic clock. So I want you to imagine that underneath your hands is a clock face shining up to the ceiling. And all the numbers on a traditional clock. So 12 o'clock is your navel, 6 o'clock is your pubic bone, and 3 and 9 are the points of each hips. Okay, and that clock is shining up to the sky. Now, in the center of your clock, I want you to imagine that there's a big, heavy red ball, and there's a little bit of weight in that ball. And so it's a feeling as if there's something heavy sitting, resting on your abdomen a little bit. Okay, now relax your arms. And I want you to just imagine you're going to tip your pelvis or your clock as if you're rolling the ball into 12 o'clock, your navel. And it's just a very small tip action. And imagine that heavy ball is sinking back into your navel. And then just let your pelvis level off. So the ball's back in the middle of your clock. And just do that again. So we're rotating our pelvis gently, tipping it so the ball rolls into our navel. And then gently leveling off. This is a very small movement, but this is the beginning of loads of our Pilates movements, getting that little curl of the tailbone, that little tilt action, and a feeling of the movement initiating from our deep tummy muscles, rather than a squeeze or clench of the buttocks. So make sure you're not clenching your bum, and the movement is initiating from the deep abdominals. Now, if we were to roll the ball the other way, down to 6 o'clock our pubic bone, if you do that action, you'll feel how your lower back will arch a bit more excessively, and you can't really feel your tummy in that position, and it often feels a bit grumpy on people's lower backs. That's the direction people often find a bit uncomfortable. Level off your pelvis, and now go all the way back to 12 o'clock, where you can feel a good lower abdominal connection. Level, that takes a bit more concentration to still feel your tummy. And if you go the other way, down to 6 o'clock, you're arched and it's really hard to feel your tummy. Okay, and we never in any Pilates exercise go into this position except for now when we're learning what not to do. Level off. Now, one more time, go to 6 to 12 o'clock, sorry. So one more time into that tilt, that should feel quite nice on your lower back. And then just level off to square, okay? Now, we're going to do side to side. This is a little more complicated to learn if you're a beginner. Feel your feet lightly pressing into the mat, and you're going to tip your pelvis so the ball rolls to 3, and then 9 o'clock is lifting up in the air. I'm going to roll the ball across my tummy to the other hip, and then the other hip is going to lift, so side to side, like a boat rocking. Okay, now as you're doing this, your knees should be facing the ceiling, as if there's a little bits of string attaching your knees to the sky. And I'm going this side to side, 3 to 9 tipping. My thigh bones are pointing up to the sky. And I'm just trying to get my pelvis to move this way. Good, one more time. And then leveling off. Okay, now let the pelvis rest. The next one we're going to do is a hip hike. So I'm keeping my pelvis square and level, and I'm going to shorten one side of my waist and lengthen the other side of my waist. and then I'm coming back to level. Okay, so as if you're pulling your hip to your armpit almost. That side shortens and the other side lengthens. And as you're doing this, imagine the very bottom of your spine, your lumbar vertebrae, are doing little side bending. And quite often we can do one side a bit more easily than the other side. Or one side you notice is getting a stronger stretch because it's a little tighter. So this is a side to side lumbar side bend, which we need if we want to be able to walk effectively or well, and we need our lower back to do this little sidey action. Let's do it one more time. And then find back to level. Now our last clock exercise is the circle. So you're going to roll the ball into your navel. You're going to roll it around 1, 2 to 3 o'clock, down 5, 4, 5 to 6, around 7, 8, 9, and then back up to 12. And now keep going the same direction and try and really move your pelvis and have that image of a ball rolling around the circumference of your clock face. So really trying to get the hips and the lower back moving and warming up. Okay, they try not to skip any numbers. And we're going to pause and go the other way. So roll the ball the other direction. And just really try and free up your lower spine and hips, essentially. Really move it around one more time. Good. And then finish with the ball in your navel, so you're in a tuck, and then just level off the pelvis. Okay, now we're going to do a little pre-Pilates exercise where we're trying to find stability in the pelvis next. So last time, roll the ball to 12 again and try and feel your tummy muscles, like as if you're pulling up a pair of tights from your pubic bone, you're pulling them up across the waist and you're tucking them in under your ribs. So you're feeling that sort of scoop feeling, okay? Now keep that in your mind and try to level your pelvis without losing that deep abdominal connection, okay? Now, without your pelvis shifting, keep that connection to your deep abs, pick up 1 foot off the floor, maybe a couple of inches, and then put it down. Now breathe out, feel those deep abdominals like a pair of tights pulling up. See if you can float your other leg up. And down. So it looks like a really simple exercise, but if you're keeping stable pelvis, it's going to be a lot of concentration. Keep that pulled up deep abs. If you're not sure if you're staying stable, put your hands on your hip points. There should be no movement, just your leg is moving, not your pelvis. Breathing out, finding your deep core. And then if you feel okay, you can take one leg a little higher. Now we're actually in tabletop. And then the other one. Now pause in tabletop. We're going to make it harder by trying to switch legs in the air. So keep that lifted tummy connection and switch legs 1 foot down, 1 foot up. Breathe out as you switch. And try and really concentrate on stability in the pelvis and lower back. You're not letting your spine lift off the mat. You're not letting anything arch. This should be really quite challenging if you're really concentrating hard. Last one. Good. And then hug your 2 knees into your chest and just rock about a bit. And if any tension crept a bit into your lower back muscles, this is going to release it again. That's it. And it's trying to really work our abdominal strength so that we don't feel that any pulling in our back in those exercises. Now we're going to bring our feet down to the floor, hip distance apart again, and we're going to roll up into a pelvic curl. So the first part of that is rolling the marble into the navel, the ball into the navel. And then you're going to peel your spine up, vertebra by vertebra. And as you do that, think of your knees reaching forward over your ankles. And then you're going to roll down upper back, mid back, waist, lower back, and pelvis. Good. Now just keep going. Simple, simple. Even if you've done it a million times, there's so much detail in this movement. Check the feet are flat. You're not letting your weight go to the outside edge of the foot. The whole foot's pressing down. Your knees are reaching forward, and you're trying to tip your pelvis, pubic bone up, navel in, and then rolling down through the spine. And all the way back. Now remember, you might not come as high as me. It depends if there's a bit of tightness in your hips or your back. Perhaps you need to keep it a little bit lower. That's going to be really individual. So we're not arching our spine or thrusting our hips too high. And then we're rolling the spine back down, vertebra by vertebra. Now in this last one, we're going to do a little side to side tipping. So roll up into your bridge, wherever that is. Stay here. Now really feel your feet pressing down, the whole foot. Try and tip the pelvis a little bit more tailbone under, more marble. Now we're going to think, imagine I put a bag of sand on your pelvis. You're going to tip your pelvis as if the sand is pouring off one side. And that's the same as the ball rolling to 9 o'clock. Come back to square and then tip the other way as if the ball is rolling off that side of your clock. And then come back to square. Now, as you tip, the opposite knee is going to reach. So I'm tipping to the right. My left knee is really reaching forward. I'm standing in my left foot. Come back and then tip the other way. The opposite knee reaches forward. You stand strongly onto that foot. And then back. Now, what you should be feeling is a lot of work in your hips, the back of your hips, your glutes, essentially. Reach the opposite knee. And then come back and really square up. And then you're going to breathe out. You're going to roll down through your back, vertebra by vertebra, until your spine is down. Good. Now, once your hips are down, reach your arms up. We're going to move on to a little shoulder warm up. So reach the arms up, shoulder blades off the mat, and then drop the blades back beneath you. And again, reaching up and drop the blades down. One more time. And drop the blades down. Now take the arms out to the side and just hover them an inch off the floor and really take a moment to stretch your arms wide, and then relax them onto the mat. Now we're going to do a spine twist. So number one version, keep your feet on the floor and hug your knees together. That's one version of spine twist. If you're feeling pretty fit and healthy today, you can do this in a tabletop instead. So you can choose, make sure that you're strong enough in your center. If you're going for double tabletop, your back should not be arched. My back is pretty flat on the mat in this position. Okay, now keeping the shoulders flat and relaxed, I'm going to let my two knees go to one side. Remember, it's about control, and then use your waist, your abs to bring you back. Okay, I'm not trying to get my knees to the floor. I'm only going halfway max. And so it's about control and strengthening. It's always about strengthening in Pilates, not just flopping around. Can you use your waist to control this rotation? And then back to center. And I'm going to hug my knees into my chest, take a little stretch again. And then bring the feet down to the floor. Okay, I'm going to bring my feet together and we're going to move into a bit of abdominal strengthening. So interlacing the hands, bringing the hands behind the head, just starting with a very simple chest lift. So breathing out, curling the chest up and looking at my knees. And now take a few breaths here and imagine you're pulling up your abdominal tights as you exhale. And then lowering the spine down. So breathing out to curl up. Holding it there to take a breath in and a breath out. And then lowering back down. Now we're going to add on, but remember you can always go back to the first version, the simpler version. So keep with this if that's the right choice. Otherwise curl up. We're going to add a little more intensity. We're going to grab our legs and see if you can lift your chest a little higher. Now breathe. Try and hold the shape of your spine in this position. See if you can let go and take another couple of breaths. And then we're going to bring our hands back behind our head and then rest our head down. Okay, we can do one more time. Breathing out, curling up, reaching the arms, hold the legs for support. Bring yourself a little taller so the shoulder blades are hovering. Keep breathing, no holding of the breath. Can we let go and stay here? Hands back behind the head. And then lowering the head down. Now, I'm going to do the 100 next, and just watch. If you've got any back issues or any issues, or you're quite new to Pilates, keep feet on the floor. Otherwise, tabletop, If you're a healthy, strong, intermediate person, you do Pilates very regularly, obviously you can go to the full straight leg version of the 100. So know your body, basically, and keep your feet on the floor if you're in any way in doubt, okay? So when we're ready, we're going to reach our arms to the ceiling. So you can do feet down and feet up. I'm going to do a bit of each one to demonstrate. So number one version, curling up and holding here. And we're going to breathe in. Do whichever version is right for you and breathe out. So this is beginner version. If you're feeling good, you can take it into tabletop. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you're strong and fit, you straighten your legs out for the full expression of the 100. Breathe in. And breathe out. Hug your legs tightly together. This is a breathing exercise. So take big breaths. If your neck is sore, just put your head down. You've got to build this up slowly. One more breath. And out. Good. Hug your knees into your chest. Rest your head down. Take a breather. And we're going to rock ourselves up to sit. Okay, so we're starting building up the roll up from first version, hands behind the legs. Think of your abdominal tights. We're going to scoop in that belly, round the spine and just go back a little way and then come back up. So we're trying to move my lower back. So the shoulders stay over the hips and you're just curving out your lower spine. Okay, that's version one, essentially. Version two, we curve the spine and then we lean back into straighter arms. Keep trying to put up those deep abdominals, curl the tailbone under. Use your arms for support and come forward. Now keep doing that version if that's the right choice for you. A little harder is to do it with your arms out. Now you don't have the help of your arms and you can go halfway back. And then using your abdominals, those deep abs to bring yourself up. Okay, one more time, half roll back. And then breathing out and coming up. Okay, have a rest, everybody. Give your legs a shake. Okay, so sometimes the hip flexors can get a bit grippy. As you get stronger in your abs, that will lessen and you will not feel that as much. So firstly, have a rest, and then we're going to do it again. Now, if you're in the group doing these ones, you're going to keep doing those ones. Otherwise, straighten your legs into full roll-ups if those are in your Pilates world, and just keep rounding up and down through the spine. So a full roll-up would be rolling down and up through the back. Breathing, keeping your legs tightly hugged together, and reaching forward. And if you feel you can't sit up, go back to the half roll back. It'll help you get stronger and build up the exercise. Do it one more time, either half roll back or full roll up. And we're going to finish lying on our back. So do your last one of whichever version is the right choice for you, and then lie down on the back. We're going to bring our knees in and we're going to give ourselves a stretch. So hold behind the right thigh and you're going to just stretch bend. Really simple hamstring stretch. And then move your ankle, point, flex the foot. Circle the ankle maybe. And then switch sides. So it's a little stretch bend on this side. And then a little point flex. Good, and bring your foot down. So we can do the single leg circle. So the single leg circle, if you're feeling a little bit tight today, keep the other leg bent. Otherwise, if you're feeling fit and healthy, my left leg is going to be straight on the mat, my heel pressing down. Right leg, knee joint over hip joint, and then straighten the leg to your own degree. So some people still have a bent leg, and that's okay. Okay, now press strongly into your left heel. Left rib is stable, left side is steady. We're going to circle our right leg across the body, round and up. Cross the body, round and up. Now try and keep your center still, and you're trying to isolate your right hip joint and get it moving against a stable pelvis. We're going to reverse 5 times. Out, round, up, out, round, up. Last couple. Bend your knee in, have a little stretch. Switch sides. So remember, you do it with a bent leg if your hips are a bit tight today. straight leg if that's available. Reach up your left leg, anchor right side, right waist, right side body. You're going to circle, cross the body, round and up. Cross, round, up. Now keep your center steady. Keep pressing your right heel into the floor. And reverse, out, round, up, out, round, up. Last couple. Bend in. Good. Now, if you're a roll-up person, stretch your legs out and do a roll-up to sit. If you're not yet a roll-up person, hug your knees into your chest and do a little rock-up. Now, we're going to roll like a ball, but you don't have to roll, basically. So, number one is just to balance like a ball, hands behind the legs, rounding the spine, just get your balance. Now, imagine you're pulling up those deep abdominal tights, like you're pulling them up around the waist, you're trying to lift your spine and get into your shape. Okay, that could be all you do if you're not ready to roll. If you feel confident with your roll, you're going to find that deep abs a bit more, pull the tailbone underneath you, roll smoothly through your lower back, and then press the legs and rock up. Try and feel it, listen to it in your room. It should be a quiet, smooth roll through the spine. And if you can nail that one, try on the ankles. This is the more challenging version. This is the full version of rolling like a ball. So heels to bum and rolling back and forward, massaging the spine. Last one. And then coming down. Okay, we're going to round down and do a little bit of more ab strengthening. So reach out your arms and you're going to do a roll back. And remember, if you're somebody that needs a bit more support, please use your arms on your legs. Otherwise, straight arms is a little harder. Good, now lying on your back. So we're going to do a single leg stretch to start with. So try and feel your deep abdominals. Float your legs up one at a time. We're going to lift the chest up. Hold two hands on one shin, reach the other leg out. Now grow taller and lift your upper back. Keep the spine still as you switch legs. Switch and pull. Switch and pull, switch and pull. Now think of those deep tummy muscles pulling in and up. You're keeping yourself steady. 2 more times. Hold your knees in, rest your head down. Now for the double leg stretch, if you know this isn't good for your body in any way, put your feet down and do just chest lifts and go back to basics. If you're new, keep your legs to the ceiling. If you're strong, legs go a bit lower. Okay, so when you're ready, curl the chest up. Now feel your deep abdominals pulling in and up. We're going to reach our legs out, start high, and try not to let your shoulder blades touch the mat. So it's the double leg stretch. And then as you get stronger, you can lower your legs, but do not let your back change shape. That's it, 2 more times. Hug your heels a lot. They should be tightly pinned together. Good, rest your head down, take a breather, roll your head around a little bit. Okay, so our last exercise is going to be the crisscross. So first version of this is feet down, chest lift, do that version. If you're not sure about the whole shebang or you've got any injuries, if you're happy to do the whole version, hands interlaced behind your head, breathe out, lift your chest up. Now you're going to take one leg out, twist, across, slowly, try not to rush, twist across. Breathe out. 2 more slow ones. Try and really lift your chest up and twist. And then if you're fit and healthy, we're going to finish with 8 faster ones. Breathe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and rest. Good. Have a little stretch out, so hug in and then stretch out, and just enjoy a few breaths after that ab set sequence. So point and flex your feet a few times, reach your arms over your head and just take a lovely couple of deep breaths. We're going to come up to sitting. So again, if you're a roll-up person, you're going to practice your roll-up. Otherwise, hug your knees in and rock up. Okay. Now, we're going to move into the spine stretches. So the first one, spine stretch forward. Feel free to sit on the block if your hips are a little bit tight. It's going to help you move your spine a bit more easily. Sit up nice and tall. Float out your arms, flex your feet. We're going to grow tall on inhale. And on the exhale, nod your head and round your spine. And as you round forward, think of pulling the abdominals back in one position and stretching, stretching, stretching. And then rolling the spine back up. Grow tall on the breath in. And then on the exhale, round the spine forward, round and reach. And then rolling back up. Nice and tall, one more time. Inhale and exhale. And then rolling the spine back up. Now sitting nice and tall, take the arms to the side and we're going to do the saw. So remember, we want to keep our sit bones anchored for a better stretch, okay? So as we twist to one leg, keep your weight on your two sit bones. You're going to reach across and keep that opposite hip down. Come back and untwist your spine. Rotate your spine. Reach and round forward. Lift your spine up and unwind. One more time each way. Rotate, twist and reach. Sit tall and unwind. Last one. Rotate, twist and reach. Sit up and unwind. And then relax. Okay, we're going to flip over onto lying on our tummy and do a back extension exercise. So lie on your front. We're going to go into hands flat, elbows lifted, legs together. Now roll your shoulders, quite exaggerated. Roll the shoulders back, find a lovely long neck and think of shooting your spine taller. Try and be the longest, tallest spine you can be. Okay, a little bit of pelvis pressing down, especially if you sometimes feel your lower back a little bit gets a bit squashed. Okay, so grow tall. As you inhale, lift your upper back. Come up until you feel your bottom rib, and then try and roll the shoulders back and shine the chest forward. And then come back down. Now watch you not using your neck a lot, keep the neck long. We want to try and bend that upper part of the spine. And all the way back down. Let's do it one more time. Lengthen, keep the pelvis pressing down. And down. Now we're going to slide our hands under our forehead and do the single leg kick. Just the leg part, not the upper back part. So head on the forehands. Now think of your pelvis pressing down and you're going to see if you can float your legs up to a small hover. And just double check you don't feel at all anything in your lower back. You've got to reach your pelvis down a little bit, feel it down a little bit. Now you're going to bend one knee without your pelvis changing. So a little kick, kick, slow motion to start with. Try not to let your bum leap into the air. Keep your pelvis down to stretch open the front of your hip. Okay, and if you're a little tight there, you might not be able to bend your knee very far. You might only get to there if your front hip muscles are tight. Good, a couple more times. So you're feeling hopefully your hamstrings and the front of the pelvis is getting a stretch. And relax. Okay, we're going to sit back in a rest position. So use your hands, press yourself back. We're going to have our knees apart and our feet together, unless you've got knee problems, in which case lie on your back and pump your knees into your chest. If you're okay here, sit back on your feet and round your spine over. And then practice breathing into your back in this position. So if you have an image that there's a balloon, that remember we did balloon breathing a few weeks ago in Zoom class, a balloon inside your rib cage that when you breathe in, it's pushing out your spine and your rib cage and creating a stretch from the inside out. Now, if you walk your two hands to one side and then think of doing the balloon breath into the side rib. So as that balloon inflates, it's pushing open your ribs and the side of your torso and spine. And then walk to the other way. So all these mid-back joints should be moving when we're breathing and not locked down and stiff. So use your breath to stretch out and get it all moving. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees and do some regular simple cat stretches. So now you're on your hands and knees, you're rounding your spine, you're trying to open your back up to the ceiling. Imagine all the little vertebrae opening out. lengthening, and then a little bit of shine the chest forward, but not too much. And again, curl the tailbone, really round the spine as you round under, and then undo the spine, lengthen out. One more time. Lengthen out. Now we're going to do a thread the needle, so take one arm off, reach under, and you're almost putting your shoulder down as you're in a twist. Bring yourself back, switch hands, one arm down, other arm under into a twist. And then come back. Now we're going to sit on our feet. If you've got sore knees, kneel up. If your knees are healthy, sit on your feet. Okay? And just roll your shoulders a few times. And then really exaggerate, roll them back, and you're going to clasp your hands behind you and keep really trying to pull that upper arm bones back. So we don't want to look like this in this stretch. We want to really get our shoulders back. Lift your chest and think of your sternum going up and forward, and see if you can feel a little bit of movement in the upper part of your spine. Now release your hands, give yourself a hug, hold your blades, look at your knees, and now pull the shoulder blades apart from the spine and have that image of the balloon in your upper back. When you're breathing in, it's pushing those upper back vertebrae apart a little bit, the breath. And then we're going to repeat that. So take your hands in space behind you, roll your shoulders back in an exaggerated way. Bring your arms down and back, lift the chest. And then reverse, hug yourself, look at your knees, pull your blades apart, and imagine as you breathe in, there's a big balloon in your upper chest pushing your upper back, giving you that stretch in the upper spine. And then give yourself a little loosen up. Okay, we're going to do a plank next, front support it's called in Pilates. And if you have sore wrists, modify with elbows is good. Otherwise, come into your hands and knees. Step into a plank position. And just see if you can breathe in this position. Check out how you feel this morning. Think of those gentle lifting abdominals, like a little bit of that corset or that pair of tights gently lifting up. Nice and tall through your back. And then come down. We're going to do it 2 more times. So pace yourself. If you need a rest, have a rest. If you feel really good, maybe just stay here. And then coming down. Last one. If you're feeling really happy on this last one, we're going to do 4 slow leg lifts. So you're going to lift one leg up and down 4 times. And then you're going to put it down, lift the other one 4 times. And then you're going to come onto your knees. You're going to come around and sit down, give your wrists a little break. Okay, we're going to go and repeat some rollbacks. So if you're a half rollback person, you're going to repeat your half rollbacks with your arms helping you. If you're a full roll-up person, stretch out your legs and do some full roll-ups. If you know the more intermediate repertoire, you could do a neck pull instead. So I'm not going to teach that. If you know it, you know it. Otherwise, if in doubt, go back to these foundational exercises are not easy if you do them correctly. Okay, and they're the building blocks to the harder movements. And rounding up. One more time. Now, we're going to lie onto our back and do another bridging exercise. So finish off your roll-ups or your neck pulls, whatever one you're doing, or your half roll-backs, and you're going to bring yourself down, lying onto your back. You're going to have your feet apart, and we're going to just start by having a little moment of rest. Let your shoulders relax open. We're going to do a regular pelvic curl start. We spread out your toes. Just repeat that simple pelvic curl we did right at the beginning. So curl the tail, roll up through your spine, reach through your knees. And then rolling down the back. Now, you can stay with this simpler version if in doubt. If you're feeling pretty fit and healthy today, you're going to roll up and we're going to take a moment and then we're going to go into a single leg. So you're going to stand onto one foot, really push into the floor and then float your other leg up. Now, nice and calm, keep your hips high, keep pressing your foot into the mat. You can do 4 times, lower lift your top leg. And then you're going to put your foot down. You're going to rejig yourself. So slowly go onto your second foot, really press strongly into that second foot. Pick up leg number 2, hold there, and then nice and calm 4 times. Then you're going to put that foot down, and then you're going to roll down your back, each vertebra down, and rest. Now take a stretch out long. Lovely big breath. We're going to roll onto our side and do a little side sequence. So lying on your side body. So the traditional way is that you lie with your back at the edge of your mat. Arm is under the head, unless you've got a shoulder injury, then use a pillow or a prop. Legs in straight in front of you, flexed, hand is on the mat. Okay, now lift up your top leg 2 inches, try and reach it an inch longer, and that will square your pelvis. It will give you that little mouse hole. Okay, bring your leg in line with your body. Now press your bottom thigh down into the mat and reach your top leg an inch longer, and it should feel like that's quite a lot of work. You're reaching the crown of your head to the other end of the room and your heel, so it's a 2-way stretch. Okay, now we're going to lower that top leg down, bring it in line with your hip, and then lift it up in line with your hip. Now, although this is simple, try and get the details. The pelvis should not be moving when you lift your leg up. So you've got your mouse hole. And then you're going to start to feel the side hip muscles. You shouldn't be feeling your quads at the front if you're in the right position. Try and lead with the heel. Now hold your leg up there. And imagine I'm holding your ankle and I'm pulling your leg an inch longer. And then we're going to make little tiny circles. 8, 1, 2, 3. Keep imagining I'm pulling your leg across the room. 6, 7, 8. Good. Now lower your leg to hip height. Keep it flexed. We're going to go into side kick. So lots of ab support for this one. A strong kick forward. Kick forward and point back. Flex forward and point back. 2 more times. So you're really moving your hip and point back. Now reach your leg behind you, try and stretch it out a little bit longer for the last moment, and then bring it in. Now I'm going to bring my top leg in and rest my knee down, and then I'm going to lift up my underneath leg and do a little inner thigh exercise. Lift it up and down, up. Think of picking up the weight of your leg from up high in your groin, that upper leg muscle. Let's go 2 more times. Now hold it up there, and you do 4 little pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down. Good. Now stack your 2 legs together for the double side lift. Lift your legs up, bring them in line with your body, try and feel really tall from head to feet. Breathe out to lift your legs up and down. Exhale, press up and down. Think of pulling up your abdominal tights. It's your center strength. Hold up there for the last one. See if you can take a balance. And then come down. Okay, we're going to change sides. So you can roll onto the other side or switch ends. So I'm lying with my body at the back edge of my mat. My arm is under my head. My legs are out in front of me. Okay, make sure your neck's happy, no tension. So I'm going to lift up my top leg a couple of inches. Think of reaching that top leg longer. Bring it in line with my body. Now my bottom thigh bone is pressing into the floor. My top leg is really reaching out. So I've got my waist lifted, and it should feel like that's quite a lot of work, that energy. So heel reaching that way, head reaching the other way. And then when I lift and lower my leg, I'm constantly trying to reach my leg longer out of my hip socket. So you're trying to think of giving your joints a bit more space, trying to constantly create length. Press down with the bottom leg and reach long with the top leg. Now hold it up there and really imagine I'm holding your ankle and I'm pulling your leg a little bit out. Okay, and then we're going to do small circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lower your leg for hip height, get ready for the single leg kick. So you're going to do a sharp kick forward, flex, forward, point, back. Flex the foot forward, point, back. Trying to really move your hip, keep your center stable. Last one. Back, back. Good. Now take your top leg and rest it on the floor. I'm going to do our inner thigh lift. So you're going to lift up your underneath leg and put it down. Lift it up, put it down. That's it. Think right up high in your groin. Let's go 3 more times. We're going to hold that last one. So lift it up, hold it there for 4 little pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rest down. Okay, last thing. So side lifts, 2 legs together. Nice and tall and long, float your legs up. Think of pulling up your abdominal tights so you're really streamlined. You're going to breathe out, lift your legs up and down. Exhale, lift and down. Think of pushing up with the bottom leg. That's it, breathe out, lift. Now hold it up there. Last little thing, perhaps a small balance, lifting each end a bit higher. And then bringing yourself down. Okay, good. Bring yourself up to sitting. We're going to do a few mermaid stretches and a side plank. So make sure you choose the right level for you. Let's start with a side plank actually. So we're going to do a forearm side plank. If in doubt, do this on your knees. So my knees are going to be in line with my kind of arm. So my knees aren't too forward, they're kind of in line with me. That would be a side plank. You're lifting up your side. Okay. If you know you're strong enough to do straight legs, stack your feet. You want to be in the outside of your foot if you're doing that version. Okay, now everybody, whichever version you're doing, you want to really be lifting up this side, lift out of this side rib and side body. Okay, so when you're ready, push strongly into your forearm, lift yourself into your side plank, and just hold yourself here. Arm on the hip, breathe, push the floor away, lift up your side body. Hold it for a few more moments. We're going to take a rest. You're going to come down and take a mini break. We're going to do this 1 more time. So if you feel good, you're going to go again. You're going to lift up your underside, lift up your body weight, hold yourself there. If you're here and you feel really strong, the additional movement is to lower your hips a few inches down and push your hips higher off the floor. 4 times, down and up. This is only for those that want extra super challenge. And hold. And then you're going to bend your knees and come in. Now, come up into a 90-90 hips if your body is happy like that. If it is not happy like that, find a different leg position that is right for you today. Okay, I'm going to hold my shin, take my arm up to the side of my head. Now try and glue your arm up to your ear, so it's a shoulder stretch. And then I'm side bending. And then I'm going to hold that and breathe. And I'm thinking of the balloon in this back rib. Come back up. Now this time, take your hand behind your head and do the same side bend. And then I'm going to take my top elbow and bend it forwards in the direction of that knee. And now I'm going to breathe. And think of the balloon in my back rib expanding as I breathe. And then bringing myself up and around. Okay, we're going to do that on the second side. So side plank. Knees is great or straight is great, whatever is good for you. When you're ready, you're on your forearm, so ready to go. Choose your knees if necessary or feet. Bring yourself up into your side plank, hold yourself there, just this is your test the water moment. You want to be on the side of the foot if you're doing this version. And then we're going to take a little rest. We're going to do it again, and when you're ready, lift up your side body. Shouldn't hurt your shoulder in any way at all. It should just feel hard, challenging on your muscles. Bring yourself up. Oops, this is my weak arm. Hold here. Now, if you're feeling okay, you're going to lower your hips, lift your hips 4 times. That's it, pushing away from the floor. Last one. Hold, bend your knees, come in to sitting. Okay, so our mermaid stretches. So find a position that's comfortable. So this is a really good hip mobility position, but if your knees are miserable or it's painful, choose a different position or sit on a cushion or even a chair. Okay, hand on the shin, arm up to the side of the head. I'm going to side bend, playing to start with, and think of breathing into that rib. Bringing myself up. The second one I'm going to do hand behind the head and add a little forward bend. So I'm side bending first, and then I'm going to bend forwards as if my knee's going a bit to my elbow, sorry, is going a bit to my knee, and then I'm going to breathe into my back rib. And then come back up. Okay, now we're going to do another hip stretch, the seal puppy stretch position. So if you start with your hands behind you, and this position is where you sort of butterfly your hips open and in, and it's that rotation of the hip joints. And this is a nice position. It's good if you've got a tight lower back as well to get your hips, to work on your hip mobility. Okay, so you can just stay in your knees open round your butterfly stretch, or if you feel happy to do the rolling exercise, this is again, it's supposed to be massaging and opening the lower back. So if you're doing seal puppy, come forward on your mat, put your hands underneath your ankles. Pause here for a second, shoulders should be totally relaxed. If you press your heels together, draw in those deep abdominals as if you're putting your tailbone to your heels, and you should feel a little bit more open in that lower back, your lumbar spine essentially. Okay, so you've got to scoop in your belly deeply. And then if you're happy to try rolling, that's the next goal. If you feel okay with that, you're going to scoop the belly deeper, roll back, and roll up. And if you feel happy, then eventually you add the claps. So you pause upside down, clap, clap, clap. You pause at the end, clap, clap, clap. This is only if you know you're nailing the first bit. So it's a controlled roll. And then bring your feet down. Okay, and don't worry if it all goes hideously wrong, because it's just practice. Okay, so let's come onto our knees. We're going to do, we've got how much left? 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to do a little hip stretch kneeling. Tip the camera up a little bit. Okay, so even if you just do these couple of hip stretches, especially if you've had a day when you've been in a chair a lot, traveling or desk working, often our hips just get very stiff in life. So taking one foot forward, pointing your hips to face your knee rather than being twisted, take that leg out a bit. Now, if you bring your pelvis forward into that lunge and think of tucking that way, your pelvis, putting up your tummy, you're going to get a huge stretch in the front hip. And then rocking back. And that's those front hip muscles get very tight and they pull in our lower back. So it's really important for your back health to work on those hip mobility. Okay, now, if you feel really confident doing this and you feel happy to do slightly deeper position, you're going to put your opposite hand down on the mat. You're going to tuck your back toes, lift your back leg up. So you're in a really big lunge and lower your pelvis down. Try and straighten your back knee if you can. We're going to add a twist. I'm going to turn and look up to the ceiling behind me in a big old twist. And then I'm going to bring myself back, drop my back knee, rock myself back, come back. Okay, so second side. Creep your foot a bit forward, try and square your pelvis to the front. Bring your hips forward. Watch that it's not just bringing the body forward. So I see a lot of people kind of doing that sometimes. So your body's upright and it's your pelvis you're bringing forward, okay? Drop the towel, lift the tummy, and it should be a really huge stretch across the front of that hip. Okay, and then rock that. So you can just stay with this first part if the big lunge is looking a little bit too scary. So if you feel good though, you can add that. So hands down, toes tuck, come into your really lovely big deep lunge. And then if you feel good, you can add a twist. So it's a whole body mobility position. Reaching, breathing there for a moment. And then coming back onto your back knee and bringing yourself back. Okay, now we're going to do some upper body strength, some push-ups, tricep push-ups, and choose the version that's right for your body. So against a wall is a good place to begin, or a good place if you've been injured, okay? Otherwise, doing it in a box, 3/4 position, and eventually building up into a full plank if you're strong enough. So choose your level, and we're going to do a series, 10 if you can. Otherwise, if 3 is challenging, do 3. If 10, do 10, do 10. Okay, so choose your level. I'm doing mine in a 3/4 position. Okay, so I'm going to tuck my ankles in a sort of fitness shape position. Okay, tricep push-ups in Pilates, so elbows are going to the side of my rib cage. I'm going to lower down, almost into my mat, and come back up. And so you're going down and up. And up. Try and press with both arms. Keep your body nice and steady. That's it, just trying to build up that general body strength. Okay, I'm not counting, we've got a couple more. When you've done your set, sit back. Give your wrists a little shake. We're going to do a little walk to our feet up stretch ending. Okay, so if you're okay to join in with that, if not, meet to standing up, you're going to take yourself into a plank one more time and hold yourself there for a few breaths. Nice and calm. You're going to lift your hips up, bend your knees a bit, really stick your sit bones up to the ceiling. So you really get a sort of spread your sit bones wide moment. Okay, and then I'm going to straighten my legs one by one, giving myself a big old calf stretch. And then you're going to walk your hands and feet together. You might need to bend your knees, that's all fine. Holding the elbows, let your head relax, have a little hang. Nice and calm, bend the knees a little more, and then a little bit less, and just have a little forward fold stretch. And then relax the arms. I'm going to unroll myself to standing. And then stand up, and we're going to do a standing roll down. So wherever you are in your room, just stand up for a couple of breaths. Get your head used to being upright, and we're going to do a standing roll down. So knees can be a bit bent. Remember, it's more about the spine in Pilates than touching our toes or anything. So just let your head nod, let your spine round. As you round over, try and feel, get that little bit of stretch to the back. Arms relaxed. And then as you roll up, you're curling your tail under, so pulling under the back and rolling up and standing tall. And then last thing, we're going to do some rises up and down. So find a place to stand in your room. Flat floor is a little bit easier. So just a little bit of strength for the feet and ankles, standing nice and tall. Try to lightly press your toes down, and you're just going to rise up and down. Now, if you notice that big toe is flicking off the floor, concentrate on slightly pressing it down, and maybe don't lift your heels as high. And that big toe is an important muscle under the arch of your foot, and it'll stop your ankle from swinging out as well. So it's a really key foot muscle that attaches to the big toe. So we want to make sure we're strengthening that. And not just letting the foot rock out and all the toes kind of grip. So we want to strengthen the core of your foot. And the lowering is really important. So watch that you're not just falling down with a plonk. Let's go 2 more times. Last one. Good, and then just take a really lovely stretch up and just really sort of enjoy a big stretch, like a big yawn. And then lovely big stretch out and down. And we'll finish there. Well done. I'm gonna stop my recording actually, so stop that one.